Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to peel back the curtain on the invisible architecture that pretty much runs our entire digital lives. It's this epic battle between a closed, dominant giant and a really revolutionary open challenger. And trust me, the outcome is going to define the future of technology. So, let's just dive right in.
So, let's start with this question, because it's a great one. Really think about it for a second. Billions of devices, your iPhone, your Android, your smartwatch, even your thermostat, they're all running on a blueprint from just one single company. How on earth did that happen?
Well, the answer is a company called ARM. For decades, they have been the undisputed king, the top dog of mobile and embedded systems. They became the default choice for basically anyone building a device where battery life is everything.
So how did they build this incredible empire? Well, it really comes down to three key things. Let's break them down one by one.
Okay, this right here, this is the big one. ARM's whole design philosophy is built around one thing: performance per watt. You know, for anything that runs on a battery, your phone, your laptop, low power use isn't just a nice feature, it is the most critical thing. And ARM absolutely nailed it.
Now, this is where you can see their business genius. ARM Holdings doesn't actually manufacture a single chip. Nope. Instead, what they do is they license their intellectual property, the designs, the blueprints. Think of it like they're selling a recipe. And this lets giants like Apple and Qualcomm take that recipe and then customize it, adding their own special ingredients, like their own GPUs or modems, to create their own unique chips.
And that leads us to the final, absolutely crucial piece of the puzzle. Hardware is totally useless without software to run on it, right? A chip is just a fancy rock. Well, ARM has a 30-year head start here with this huge, mature ecosystem. We're talking about the fundamental building blocks of our world, like Linux and Android, plus all the developer tools that have been fine-tuned for decades to work perfectly with ARM.
But what if you could just sidestep that whole licensing empire? This is the revolutionary idea behind the new challenger on the block, RISC-V. It asks a really fundamental question. Should the very language a computer speaks be open to everyone, or should it be owned by a company?
So what exactly is RISC-V? Okay, in simple terms, it's an instruction set architecture, or ISA. That's the basic set of commands a processor understands. But here's the game changer. It's an open standard. It is totally free. Anyone, and I mean anyone, from a student in a garage to a massive company like Google, can use it to build a chip without paying a single dime in royalties.
And when you put them side by side like this, the difference is it's night and day. ARM is proprietary, RISC-V is open, ARM demands royalties, RISC-V is free. And while ARM's ecosystem is incredibly mature, especially for phones, RISC-V is still the new kid on the block, and it's growing fast.
Which leads us to the big, critical business question. If one is free, why are companies still lining up to pay millions, sometimes tens of millions, for an ARM license? Well, the answer goes way beyond just the technical design. It's about something else entirely.
This quote just nails it. With ARM, you're not just buying a set of instructions. You're buying certainty. You're paying for a design that has been tested to death, for integration that just works, and for a proven blueprint that you know is solid. At the end of the day, you're paying to lower your risk.
And ARM gives you a couple of ways to get in on the action. Most companies go for what's called a core license. They basically license a ready-made, off-the-shelf core like one from ARM's Cortex family. But the real heavy hitters, like Apple, they pay way more for an architecture license. That gives them the freedom to design their own totally custom core, built on top of that ARM instruction set.
And the price tag for all that certainty? Yeah, it's not small. For a standard Cortex core license, a company could be paying anywhere from $1 to $10 million. And that's just up front. That's before they have to pay a small royalty on every single chip they make.
So this really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? With a free, open alternative just sitting there, why isn't there this mass exodus from ARM? Well, the answer is complicated, it's expensive, and it's rooted in decades and decades of development.
First and foremost, it's about maturity. ARM has a 30-plus year head start. Think about that. That is 3 decades of hardware development, software optimization, bug fixing. You just can't replicate that kind of maturity overnight.
And all that maturity leads directly to stability. The tool chains for ARM, the compilers, the debuggers, the operating systems, they are absolutely rock solid. They've been optimized to the nth degree, and they're completely reliable. For a company that's about to ship millions of products, that stability is priceless.
And that brings us to the bottom line: risk. For a huge company, choosing a chip architecture is a massive, massive bet.
ARM is the proven safe bet. RISC-V, while it's incredibly promising, is still evolving. It just doesn't have the same battle-tested, high-performance track record yet. And this just shows you how enormous that bet really is. Switching isn't like changing a light bulb. It is a complete, top-to-bottom architectural overhaul. You have to port your entire operating system, rewrite all your drivers, retune every bit of performance, totally redesign the silicon itself, and even shift your supply chain. We are talking about a multi-billion-dollar effort here. It's huge.
So this is where the industry is today. It's not a simple default choice anymore. Companies are now facing this major strategic decision that really pits their short-term goals against their long-term ambitions.
And here's the trade-off in a nutshell. If your number one goal is speed, getting to market fast and using a proven, stable ecosystem, then ARM is your answer. But if your goal is long-term control, deep customization, and breaking free from licensing fees forever, well, then RISC-V is the path you're going to take.
Now here's a really interesting twist. ARM isn't just sitting still and dominating mobile. That same power efficiency that won them the phone market is now winning over the cloud. Tech giants like Amazon and Google are building their own ARM-based servers now because in a massive data center, power equals money, and ARM saves them a ton of it.
Which brings us to our final thought. This battle between ARM and RISC-V, it's more than just a tech debate. It's a really fundamental question about the future of technology itself. Will the core blueprints of our digital world be proprietary and owned by a few, or will they be open and accessible to everyone? The choices that companies are making right now are going to shape that future for all of us.